I would have no responsibilities whatsoever.
Range Wilson, fitness, comedy, life.
Although I was happy being the go-to temp for New Regency, I continued to keep my eyes open for a permanent job. One of the more interesting opportunities involved an Asian immigrant named Keith. Keith planned to open an SAT tutoring center, and his target market would be other Asian immigrants. And it turned out I, personally, was a key element in his marketing strategy. I did not realize it at the time, but as a white male with a Harvard degree, I represented considerable symbolic value to anyone trying to sell into the Asian market. Keith started off by offering me $45 an hour to be an SAT tutor. That amount sounded vastly superior to the $10 an hour I was making in Hollywood, but then I started thinking about it a little more. The problem was there was considerable overhead involved in actually earning that $45 per hour. I would have to spend considerable time brushing up on my SAT and teaching skills. Scheduling could easily become a nightmare. Plus, getting back and forth to the tutoring center would be a continual hassle, given Los Angeles traffic. Meanwhile, I did not know how many hours I would actually get. After mulling it over, I decided to pass on Keith's offer. Then he approached me with another offer that sounded too good to be true. He would pay me $30,000 per year to be the quote-unquote manager of the tutoring center, but I would not even have to show up. Other than occasional meet and greets, I would have no responsibilities whatsoever. Was there any way I could decline this offer? The problem was that I considered it unethical to represent a business without knowing how it was actually being run. And if I wanted to compromise on my ethics, I could just head back to Silicon Valley and make millions of dollars per year instead of a paltry $30,000. Meanwhile, if I had no idea how Keith was running his business, I would be exposed to potential liability and lawsuits. After thinking it over, I declined Keith's offer, but I made him a counteroffer. If he would bump the salary up to $40,000, I would actively manage the tutoring site. But he had no interest in that idea. Maybe that number would blow his budget. Maybe he was doing something shady after all, or maybe he simply did not want anyone actually involved in running his business. In any case, I had passed on the chance to make some very easy money. In the meantime, my personal assistant agency had contacted me with an opportunity that involved the married couple, Julie Andrews and Blake Edwards, who were Hollywood royalty at the time. Julie Andrews had won an Oscar for Mary Poppins and had also starred in The Sound of Music. Blake Edwards was the writer and director of the Pink Panther films, the movie 10 starring Bo Derek, and dozens of other films. I made it through the first screening interview, which meant that I would be meeting with Blake Edwards himself. One of the best pieces of advice I had gotten from my personal assistant agency was to treat celebrities just like everybody else. If you love the work, simply tell them that, and then move on to whatever topic is at hand. In this case, that advice served me well. When I met with Blake at the Brentwood estate that he and Julie shared, we got right down to business. It turned out the job would involve being a personal assistant to Blake himself, who was getting up there in years and could no longer keep up with all the demands on his time. He was concerned that I was overqualified, but I assured him that I had no problem doing routine tasks. Blake seemed suitably impressed by my qualifications and mindset. After our meeting, the head of the personal assistant agency told me that it was down to me and 2 other candidates. That meant Julie Andrews herself would want to meet with me. Unfortunately, that meeting never happened. After several scheduling issues, the 2 of them simply decided that Blake did not yet need a personal assistant after all. It would have been a thrill to meet with Julie Andrews, but such is life. But it was not long before I got a different kind of thrill. Tune in next time to find out what happened when I conducted a nude photo shoot on the beach with a young woman I had just met. Until then, click the icon to subscribe, the playlist to catch up on my life videos, or watch a video that YouTube has picked for you personally. My name is Range Wilson, and I'll see you next time.